Welcome back, my fellow humans. We are playing Lake of Voices. This is going to be the 5th episode, and given the fact that we passed the halfway mark, I am going to assume that this is the final episode. Now, a lot has happened. I managed to kill another one of our new incomers, our new friends, Lou. So I have 2 people dead. Out of the 4 characters that are with me, myself, Bamel, Lou, and Margaret in the guide, so 5 characters. Out of the 5 of us, I managed to kill 2 people off already. I do not feel great about it, but I'm gonna keep the game rolling because that's what had happened, and I'm not gonna keep replaying this game over and over trying to get the best ending. I want to give you guys as natural ending as I can get. So, with that being said, I just killed Lou. We got past the halfway point, and the guide has given us more of an emotional side. He started to speak more clearly now. He started to speak more of his mind, and as that happened, our character Kika has gotten separated with him and Bamel. So now we're on our own. We are trying to figure out what to do. So we have to go down the paths the guide explained to us, and we're gonna see how that goes for us. I spare a brief glance behind me. However, there's not a trace of them, or even the dead end I was just stranded at. With the painful contracting of my heart, I realize that I am truly alone now. Quickly, I shake off the thought and refocus my attention on what's in front of me. The first branching off of the path comes into reach. I skid into a full stop in front of it. The path west is dark and desolate as every bridge. It is impossible to see what's down the twisting way. The previous conversation comes floating back to me. Now that I am here, I must face that concern. Is the guide reliable? Can he be trusted? I had to leave so they could go on without being weighed down. That I don't regret. However, I can't help but wonder if the guide couldn't give me a proper suggestion because of the sinking bridges. A mistake could have been made. It is possible he knowingly gave me false hope to keep the situation calm. Or perhaps he intentionally set me to the wrong path because it would be easier for them if I did not make it. It looks between the pathways. Based on my direction, it does seem as though there are other options could potentially correct me to them before the west does. Yet I cannot possibly know until I move forward. I need to make a decision. I'm gonna follow the guide just because the fact that he spoke out finally, and that's kind of what I wanted for a while now. And the fact is, I'm not gonna have Lou's death go in vain. I wanted to know more about the guide. I tried to get more information out of him, and now that he's kind of like opened up a little bit to us, I'm gonna take his advice. So we're gonna go down the west path. No, I can't allow doubt to take control. We know from the beginning that there is only one path that has led travelers to safety. His. I will take the guide on his word. Without wasting any additional moment, I make my way across the western bridge. I walk at a moderately brisk pace, not wanting to risk tripping or running out of energy in the moment where I need it. If the eeriness of the lake was disconcerting before, now it is overwhelming. The blizzard-like fog drifting over the waters limits my vision to the span of my arms. The utter silence was a comfort, despite how otherworldly it felt, but the whispering of the lake has started to stir now. I gulp despite myself. They notice me, and that's a lot of them. As their chattering grows, I consider briefly if the others hear them as well, or if they have come out specifically because I am on my own. I straighten my back and walk more surely. I cannot let them believe I am an easy target. I even consider keeping my sword in hand, but it doesn't seem entirely likely they would realize it is something that could hurt them. To keep my mind from wandering into dark places, I count my steps like we used to in training. 1, 2, 3, 4. Despite my best efforts, things are starting to get to me. My worries wash over me, causing painful twinges underneath my clothes that make me jerk and twitch like a fly-bitten horse. The whispering inhuman voices, the feeling of vulnerability, the horrible thought of being hopelessly lost and all meddled together is consuming me. My pace breaks from a steady rhythm of counting set. It quickens the more I start to succumb to fear. My brisk steps turns into long, frantic strides. Something in me whispers, "Faster, go faster, don't let them catch you." And I listen. I break into a run like moving on landmines, flashes of fear explode in my mind, and I drive my feet harder, faster, stronger along the path. Until suddenly my sense of reason returns. I stop dead. My chest rises and falls with deep heaving breaths as I try to calm myself down. The monsters erupt into an inharmonious chorus of what sounds to be wicked laughs. I fight the urge to shout back at the creatures. This feels like a nightmare I would never wake up from. I take another breath and resume my measured progress. Even after the first crossroads, I continue with the guide's simple direction, keeping west every chance I get. I have no other hints for this labyrinth. It's difficult to tell how much time has passed. It must be at least an hour, judging by how much energy I expended. Since I recomposed myself, I have not stopped walking for a second, despite how time has worn on. The route still feels like an endless abyss. Then I hear a noise, which causes a shuddering chill to creep down my spine. An uneven clicking followed by a squelching sound. It's a prowler. I immediately turn to look behind me. There's nothing. I breathe out relieved. My ears search for the source of the noise, but with all the babble the Nixie are making in the direction is clouded. I strain my ears. That's it. The noise is drifting slowly from one of the connecting paths ahead. I can faintly tell the noise is drawing nearer. The prowler has not yet arrived, but its path will intercept my own. I will not wait for it to reveal itself, leaving me two options. I can run past the bridge connection to get ahead of it, or I can turn back to find a new lake. I'm gonna go past it, cause I feel like he told me to keep west, and if this is the only way, going back would not do me any good. I have faith that following the same path I've been is for the best. I steel myself and build up speed. I get closer and closer to the branch with the lurking threat and pick up my pace so I'm sprinting. I hear a gurgling hiss as I pass through the crossroads. I must have been close enough to be pained by the light, but I barely made it. However, I didn't hear any splash. It is still nearby. I look behind me to see if it's decided to come no closer. Yikes. Horrified, I realize that it's pointedly following me. It is no longer mindlessly dragging itself through blackness. I have become its target. Its limbs bend wildly and unnaturally. It looks as though it's barely keeping itself upright as its torso wobbles on its hips. That isn't stopping it from giving chase. I focus my view back ahead and continue to run. My breathing rapidly becomes ragged. I can still hear the squishing footsteps of the prowler behind me as it lunges its body forward in an unnatural gait. Without warning, the bridge lurches to one side, catching me completely off guard. I lose my footing and slam into the damp surface of the bridge. My light falls with me, painfully snuffing it out. The splashes and the excited stirring of many voices come from the lake. How? Why? Is it rotting, or did they push the support beams? It left me with no time to ponder the mysteries of the monster draws near. I scramble back onto my feet as it closes in. Grabbing my dark lantern, I resume running to put some space between us. I open the latch of the lantern, pull out a match. I have to slow down at least briefly to properly light the flame without blowing it out. With death still on my heels, I must not let one precious moment be wasted. Set up my plan with everything in hand. I began to decrease my pace. Whoa! I almost missed that. Moving as fast as I am capable, I place a lit match inside the lantern and the oil catches fire. As the flame grows, I can hear awful footsteps behind me. It began to peter out. I steal a glance behind me and it has truly come to a stop. The return of the light seems to catch it off guard, and thankfully it declines, coming closer. No! Why? I hope that was the right decision. I managed to calm myself down from the commotion. Recall what the guide said when we first encountered the prowler. You don't have to run or fight. You only need to keep moving while keeping it. Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. No wonder, yeah. See, I meant to do that. I meant that. I meant that. I meant that. I meant to do that. Obviously. Clearly. Clearly. You'll need to keep moving while keeping an eye on it. I can't keep running forever, and doing so only seems to invigorate it more further. That is terrifying. I fix my stare on it forcefully as the creature recoils from my relit lantern. Moving at a steady but brisk pace, I continue forward, making sure to check behind me so often. It creeps at a distance, however, the thing makes no dramatic attempts to engage me without choosing only to lurk. I'm set on edge by its presence, but in a way it's strangely beneficial. It makes it harder to get lost within my own mind when the tension is in the air. It's so high. Reaffirming my goals, I go down the bridge after bridge, making my way to what I can only hope is the way out. Eventually, the prowler halts as the precipice of one of the branches. Frustrated, it paces back and forth on the border as though something is physically stopping it from going further. I decide to take that as a good omen. This journey of mine returns to one of isolation. Even the whispers of Silios have ceased. Suddenly I realize that the black sky is turning blue. Dawn is beginning to rise. At this point, there is no use in keeping up my strength. I sprint down the bridge, going faster and faster as I hold out for some sort of sign, anything. Eventually, I receive the silhouette of land peeks into my field of vision. I can scarcely believe as I blink away these tears. With renewed spirit, I press down the bridge with increased speed, desperately trying to outpace the sun. The glowing orb peeks into view against its obscured sky and begins to ascend feeling. I feel like I'm messing up my words. I'm trying to keep up with the pace, and I'm just like messing up my words. With each step, the sky brightens ever so slightly more. I race through the oppressive fog, and there's a voice in the distance. It isn't horrifying sounds of monsters looming. It's Bamel. He's calling out for me.
Emily!
I shout back at him through the dark, foggy void. My voice comes out a horribly weak wheeze between the deep, shaky breaths. I'm almost certain he couldn't hear me. I'm not bothered by that, however. I will find him. I'm coming. Bamel, please, just wait for me. I keep running against the increasing light of his figure coming into view here on the bridges. Bamel races towards me at high speed and doesn't slow down when he gets near. He grabs a hold of my side and supports my dropping frame as I slow to stop. I barely choke out a sentence as I strain to catch my breath.
Why are you here?
I was looking for you, of course. I knew you had to be nearby. You had to be. Don't worry over it. I wasn't reckless enough to go in the dark. I waited until there was some sun and stayed on one path.
He grins at his own planning skills. I grow cross at his risky behavior.
The bridges could have sunk.
Despite the admonishment, I'm terribly relieved to see him again.
You are free to give me a proper lecture some other time. Right now, I'd say it's time for us to get out of this damned place. Are you still able to run?
I pull my weight back onto my feet and I nod at him confidently, though my legs are lightly quake beneath me. Bamel gives me a reassuring smile, something I had to come to believe I would never get to see again.
Don't worry, we're nearly there.
I provide a battered smile in return. The two of us tear across the bridges in the direction Bamel points out, and just as promised, the end comes into view. Against all odds, we both made it. I nearly tumble off the bridges onto solid ground. I crouch on the ground and lay my head between my legs, unable to stand. I rest there quickly for moments, taking time to allow my breathing and emotions to settle down. Finally, I look up in my lap to see Bamel standing ahead of me, both of our eyes flowing with tears. Bamel walks over and sits down in the dirt nearby. He gazes deeply into my eyes with a gentle smile gracing his lips. No words need to be exchanged between us to know what the other is thinking. I'm glad for it, because I'm not sure what I would be able to speak if I needed to. The sound of slushing and wind of wood lurches captures our attention as the bridge begins to sink. In a few minutes, only the lonely dock is left. With that, the guide walks towards us.
It is time to leave this place. There is nothing left for you here.
Upon being addressed by him, I rise to my feet. He has a calm look on his face, though there is force behind his sincerity. I open my mouth in an attempt to speak, however, I quickly realize I have an idea of what to say. Do I thank him for this? Should I give him my trust? Was our survival because of him, or despite him? Even now, I cannot know for certain. Excuse me. And then the fog's removed from my thoughts. After everything that has happened, it becomes clear. I harden my face to match his serious deposition. There is something he is certainly right of. This lake isn't a place to linger. Going round and round in circles will never stop, will never help. We cannot submit our lives or our minds to Senlios. For better or for ill, there is only one person who can help those ones that they are within its grasp. The guide. If he is removed, the place will no longer be safe. What I must do, if I truly want to defend the others, is to keep them from coming here at all. When I return to my village, I intend to make that information accurately known to our elder. For that to happen, we must leave.
Goodbye.
His eyes narrow as he looks over to me. I begin to feel uncomfortable under his scrutiny, but for a moment I could swear he noted. I noticed him smiling slightly. However, it could be easily by a trick of the morning sun. I look away to face Bamel, not wanting to get caught up in this any longer.
Bamele, we're leaving.
He lifts his head at my voice and grins through his expression quickly sours into a frown. He shows no eagerness to move forward and keeps his distance. He still feels regret that it's only us who are leaving. I empathize greatly with him, knowing that the feeling is one we will never escape from, even after this lake is far behind us. However, he manages to weakly smile again.
Those words are music to my ears. Let's head out.
Bamel walks towards the forest without even acknowledging the guide. That is for the best. On the whole, we must get away from here. It saddened me to think Bamel doesn't even have the strength to become angry, though perhaps he had an epiphany about this lake in the same way I did. We will be able to discuss that on another occasion. Despite the firmness I so intently try to have, my heart starts to waver. Margaret, Lou, they're both still here. I wish to give them a proper farewell. I want to do something. My eyes begin to water and I almost turn back around. No, it is done. I need to remember that. They would never want me to ascribe their lives to Senlios. Nothing would disgrace their memory more. I will keep them in my thoughts without allowing the lake to poison me. With my steadfastness truly regained, I march into the light with no hesitation. Woo! Okay, that was intense game, and I really feel like I failed. And, I personally thought I was making good decisions, but it turns out it wasn't. I was thinking too much. I feel like I overthought this way too much. I feel like I might have not been able to save Lou, but I feel like I could have been able to save Margaret. With a solemn heart here, I at last arrived at Hymir. They were grateful to see me, for it was a desperate situation indeed. The urgency meant that my mind was occupied with other matters. I worked tirelessly to aid Hymir's own guards and forcing back the brigaders. But during the moments of calm when the sun went down, I remembered the lake. Bamel was a great help during the fight. His outwardly positive demeanor lifted the spirits of many around him. But I could see from the shadows in his eyes that he hadn't forgotten what we went through. Nor could I miss the distance that had grown between us. He spoke fewer words to me, and I never gave him many either. yet he seemed stronger than I had seen before. I admired his will. When receiving payments for his services, the guide must give a report of all those who both succeeded and failed to cross this lake. The name and fate of Margaret soon became known in Hemir. I added that she was an intelligent, thoughtful person and urged them to show respect for her passing. I hope that one day I have the opportunity to go back to her hometown and give her my own proper respects. His retelling of events had little to say of Lou. I know that is because he was not meant to be there and was never one to open up, but it still saddens me to face how I never truly got to know who he was. I can only pray that those who cared for him will learn the truth of what happened. I have not heard nor seen the guide since then. He remained obscured in that realm of fog and fear, a mysterious light off in the distance that is ever out of the reach is the real world. I worry about them when I must return home to my usual life. It will be difficult to continue as things were before. One thing I know for certain is that my village elder must be told that no one is to cross Senlios again. I have already told Hemir leaders the same. Not a single person more should have it to experience what we did. Its darkness will remain with me for the rest of my days. Though so much was lost, I try to believe that our lessons will keep others from suffering the same way, and in the end, something will be gained. Lake of Voices. Wow, okay. Shout out to GB Patch Games. Wow. Shout out to all these people, by the way. But, you know I may have gotten people killed and stuff like that. But this was a pretty intense game. Like, it was truly fun. Like, I really liked that. I may not know much about sounds and, all this detail about the game. But I'm just gonna say that, like, the music was great. The music really put me in the situation. Like, it really immersed me in there, and I really felt as though, like, I had to get away and stuff like that. I was trying to match the music, in a sense. That's why you hear me, like, well, besides the fact that I can't read. I tried my best to keep up the pace with the music, because I try to make it more invigorating, more exciting, and stuff like that. God, I really wanted to save those Margaret and Lou. I feel like Lou, I would have not had gotten this in my first run though. With Lou, I would not have gotten this with my first run. Margaret though, I feel like I could have saved Margaret if I thought about it a little bit more, but I didn't. But wow, I like it. I like this game. It was good. It was good, especially for my first game, my first indie game. It was very good. But yeah, shout out to the developers. You can find this game on Steam, by the way. It's free. But that was Lake of Voices. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for watching the video, and thank you for giving me a chance. Please like, share, and subscribe. And as of right now, I'll take any game suggestions that you want to see me play. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next vid. Adios.